Hi everyone, welcome back to Chop's Garage, and I'm going to go through today with you what is probably my worst customer experience yet from someone. Yeah, I can't think of a situation that I've been less pleased about in all the time I've been doing this, to be honest. So grab yourself a coffee or a cup of tea or whatever, because I'm going to have a sit down because I'm still full of cold, and I'll tell you what happened. So this story relates to a vehicle I sold 5 months ago. It was a Suzuki Vitara, which is very, very popular around here. Again, even when they get older, they're still very popular because they can be good towing vehicles, they can be good sort of farmland vehicles, good lane vehicles. They're just good all-rounders, as we know. And Suzuki 2.4 petrol, super bulletproof engine, really reliable bits of kit, no problem at all. So they hold their money quite well. And the one I had, I believe, was a 2008 in really, really good condition. I think it only had 80,000 miles on it, something like that, so quite low mileage as well. I took it in as a part exchange from the main dealer, and I put it up for sale, gave it a clean up, put it up for sale, and I immediately started getting calls and messages on it, which you tend to with those. They sell really, really well, and I think we had it up for 3.5, which is about the going rate for one of those around this way. Like I said, they do get good money. A couple came to come and see the car and took it for a test drive and wanted to purchase it, and they said at the time, they don't normally spend an awful lot of money on their cars. This is actually quite a bit of money they were spending on their car. They don't normally spend as much as 3.5 on a car. They just buy real cheap stuff and run it around, which I've got no problem with at all. I do a similar thing. I run really cheap cars about the place. Anyway, so they took the Suzuki for a test drive, and obviously it's 5 months ago, so I don't remember everything in great detail, but I do remember them coming back saying that the brakes were squealing a little bit. And I said we'd get it checked out by a garage before they picked it up. They wanted it quite quickly. So I said I'd get it down to the Moores guys as always and get it done. And I remember that because I got a bill for a servicing of the brakes on the car. Now, I can't remember much more about that until I get a message a week or so ago from the lady saying that you promised us a free MOT on the car. So obviously this is 5 months on now. So you promised me a free MOT on the car. I've dropped it down to Moores for the MOT to be done. And I thought, that's really strange. Why would I offer anyone a free MOT? In thousands of cars I've sold now, I've never offered to MOT a car for somebody 5 months after they've bought it. So I went back to the invoice and had a look at the invoice. And on the invoice, it just had a discount on it. It had a discount of 150 quid off of the price. And obviously it would have had, like say, 5 months MOT at that point. Going back and checking the MOT, the last MOT was really clean. So I'm thinking, okay, did I offer to discount the car if they bought it with the MOT that's already on it? Because that's the only reason I'd think I'd give a discount on the car. And like I say, it's not logical at all that I'd ever say I'd MOT a car after it's been out and used for 5 months, especially something old like that. It wasn't even like a fairly new car. Now, everybody's going to obviously jump in and go, well, you should note these things on the invoice, this and the other. Well, the reason I don't think it was on the invoice is because I don't think I ever would have agreed to that. Now, I think those of you who watch the channel regularly know I'm a reasonable guy and I like to think the best of people. And although I can't think under any circumstances I'd ever agree to anything like that at all, I just assumed that it was an error on their part and that they'd kind of combined two of the offers. One that had to take the car with the existing MOT on it, and one have it with a new MOT. And they've kind of somewhere in their brains joined the two together and come up with the offering that they like, which is, in their minds, drive it for 5 months and then still get a free MOT on it and still get a discount and still get the brakes serviced now. Now, I just want to clarify as well, in between that as well, I think she said at one point that the airbag light came on after she had it for a month or so, and it went down to Moores and had a new battery fitted, which they thought was one of the problems they had with the car, because the light then went out. Something along those lines. Again, it's a lot of cars have passed through since that point. Maybe the two were unrelated, but I don't know. We put a new battery in it as well. So yeah, so like I say, I'm just thinking, well, I don't know how they've come to this idea that we do an MOT, but I thought, well, perhaps maybe what I agreed to do was get them the MOT, just pay for an MOT, but not for the work. Anyhow, like I say, it was already sort of a fait accompli. It was down with Moores, and she said to me as well that Moores said that they would cover any of the work needed, which again, I don't think Moores would ever say that on my behalf unless it was a brand new sale that I was doing, and they knew, the car had already gone out the door because they'd done previous work on it. So anyway, all of this is happening over WhatsApp. It's happening over on WhatsApp, and I'm thinking again, like I say, I'm thinking the best of the people, thinking that perhaps they've misunderstood something, thinking I want an easy life. So I say, Moors, go ahead and have a look at it, do the MOT. And my thought was that they can cover the bill for anything that's a consumable item, but if there's anything that flags up that potentially would have been deemed as faulty at point of sale, I know because it's under 6 months by law, I'd be legally obliged to do it anyway, and it made it unroadworthy. So I'm thinking I'm going to be on the hook for something anyway, I guess. But again, easy life kind of thing. So the car's down there for a couple of days, and I get a angry message from the lady saying that she's heard nothing from them. She wants the car for the weekend, otherwise she's got to change her plans. I said, well, do you want me to contact them and find out what's going on? Because she said that she was just getting, the phone was just ringing out. So I got hold of Moors, and I asked them what the score was with the MOT, and they said, right, James, it's failed on a couple of things. The airbag light is on. So she said that apparently that came back on again after she'd taken the vehicle to Moors and had the new battery fitted and so forth. It came on again, but she hadn't done anything about it, which I wouldn't recommend that at all. You need to get the car straight back in if the airbag light's on it. So it's failed on that. It's failed on a can't get my words out today. It's failed on a link bar, anti-roll link bar, I think it was. It failed on. I'm not remembering the right name for that at the moment, but it failed on one of those. And it also failed on a bit of welding. They said it needed a little bit on one of the sills, which again, 2008 Suzuki, 16-year-old car now, maybe a bit older than 16 years old. It's the kind of thing that comes up on them. But I said to the guys, I said, right, at the end of the day, the airbag, she said, was on all along, so we're going to have to sort that. I said, and the welding, okay, then that probably hasn't happened in 5 months. It may have been present or at least on the way at the point of sale of the vehicle, so I'll cover the welding. So obviously I'm on for an extra bill. So after giving a discount, putting a battery on it, doing the rear brakes on it, I'm now on for another bill on it. Fair enough, whatever confusion happened, let's just make life easy. Let's make everyone happy. Just move on with it. So anyway, so I come back and I messaged the lady on WhatsApp as requested. I've contacted the garage and I said, right, okay, so the work it needs is it needs a bit of welding, it needs a drop link doing, and I've told the boys it needs a drop link doing it, and it needs the airbag sorting. So the only thing you'll be paying for will be the drop link. I said, because that's a consumable item. You've been driving the car for 5 months. It's entirely possible that's fine at point of sale, but obviously just general wear and tear on a vehicle of that age. And I said to the guys, get on with it, and they reckon they can get it done for you by Saturday. So you will have the car back. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get a message back thanking me and saying how everything's great. No, what I got back on WhatsApp was a tirade of how dare I authorise the work to be done. They might not have even wanted to get the work done there. They might want to get it elsewhere. Where did I get off approving work for other people? They might not be able to afford that work. Why didn't they contact her rather than me? Which obviously I was confused about because she'd asked me to contact them. Yeah, it didn't. And also I put in the message that the one item she was paying for was, the only bit she was going to pay for was a very low cost item, because I think a link bar's like £30 and maybe it's half an hour fitting, and most of maybe a bill be 50 quid for that. Again, another reason I thought, you're getting a car brand new MOT'd 5 months after you've been driving it, and your costs are going to be 50 quid because I'm going to pay for the MOT, I'm paying for the welding, I'm paying for the airbag sort, you're only paying for the drop link. Where did I get off authorising that? It doesn't matter how small amount it was. I was a little bit shocked, to be honest, a little bit shocked. So this was going back and forth a little bit. I'd have to go back to the WhatsApp messages and see exactly why we went back and forth things. I think I said, just explain to her that I didn't know the car was down there until she told me it was down there. I've gone down and asked what she's asked me to do, which is speak to the garage and find out what's going on. And I've authorised the work so she can get the car back in time for when she wants it. And it's going to have a brand new MOT, and she's only be paying £50 towards it. And she just, yeah, she still wasn't very happy. But what she must have been doing at the time was copying my WhatsApp messages and sending them to her husband back and forth. And at this point, like I say, a couple of messages after that, she's obviously done it the wrong way around, and she screenshotted what she was sending to her husband and sent it to me rather than send my message to her husband. Now the message said, shall I throw him a bone? And then said, it's not about getting the work done, it's the fact I wasn't contacted before. And then the husband replies, I would throw him a bone and tell him you're impressed that he is doing the work that isn't fair wear and tear. Now, as far as I'm concerned, saying you're going to throw me a bone is indicating you're going to be doing me a favour by stop having a go at me when I've done something actually quite nice for you. So throw me a bone is just, it felt massively disrespectful to me. Like I say, the way I read that is that you consider you're doing me a favour by stop ranting at me when in fact I've done something outside of the norm in a big way for you. But you're going to pretend like you're doing me a favour by now actually toning it down a little bit. And that doesn't sit right with me at all. Shall we throw him a bone? I don't think at any point in this job have I been as disappointed in human beings, but also angry at the same time. I think you can probably tell it takes quite a lot for me to get angry, but reading that message made me feel totally disrespected, and when I thought I was doing something that I can't understand, I can't believe any other dealer on the planet would do after someone's had a vehicle for 5 months. Let's throw him a little bit of, you know, be a little bit nice to him. We'll just be a little bit nice to him. So yeah, I mean, obviously at that point they realised that she realised that she'd sent me that message, and it all went very quiet on the WhatsApp until I had a call from the husband, who then apologised for his wife. She was frustrated because the garage hadn't spoken to her. Now at this point, I made it clear to him that as far as I was concerned, that there'd never been any agreement to ever do an MOT after 5 months. That it's just something I've never done out of all the vehicles I've ever sold. Have I ever done a deal where I do an MOT after 5 months? Because there could be any number of wear items on a vehicle after 5 months, depending on how somebody had driven it. And this vehicle was, by their own admission, when they picked it up, going to be used for towing. So it was going to be a towing vehicle. It was going to get a hard life. So that's another reason why you'd never agree to do it on 5 months later. So I said to him, I said, yeah, I said, you know, there's not a deal on the planet that would have done this for you. I've never done it in thousands of deals. The only reason I'm doing this is because I was assuming there must have been some miscommunication or some misunderstanding somewhere in the line. So out of goodwill, I was doing it. To then receive a message being told that I'm being, you know, you're going to throw me a bone, I find really disrespectful. So he did apologise, and at least he had the goodwill to apologise. The good grace to apologise, but he was only doing it because they'd been caught out, because she'd accidentally sent me that message. Yeah, so like I say, I didn't feel like it was kind of like a genuine regret for being unreasonable and gratefulness for what I was doing. It was just a case of, we've been caught out, what sort of damage limitation here, because I haven't been down and paid the bill for the car yet. Anyway, the customer did go and pick up the car the following day, and I had already paid the bill, and they did only pay, I think half an hour's labour plus the link arm, and they had a brand new MOT on the vehicle they've been driving for 5 months. Unfortunately, the guys down the garage said they also initially suffered quite a lot of attitude when they took the car in as well. Apparently the person turned up without their driving licence to take a loan car away when they've been told they needed it as well. So yeah, I guess I started off being angry. I'm more disappointed, I think, now than anything. That you'd like to think, like, say, the best of people, but there are clearly people out there that do have very high levels of entitlement, and they do think the louder they shout, the more they'll get done, and clearly don't have a lot of respect for other people, even when they get in massively good customer services as we were doing there. I mean, maybe some of you disagree in the comments. Maybe think that, you know, in some way, shape or form, there's a fault on my end. I'm not quite sure what that'd be. And again, before anybody comments, well, you need to make sure your invoices are clear. You need to make sure it's clear what you've agreed, get everything in writing. I do. All my handover forms list, you know, if there's any known faults with the vehicle, they list the MOT they've gone out with, they list any advisories on the MOT if I'm selling something really old and cheap. Mostly my new cars at full price go out without any advisories on them at all. They list what work we're going to do. The invoice lists if I'm going to do a service for you, if I'm going to do a cam belt for you, if I'm going to what warranty I'm going to put in. It's all on the form. So this isn't a case of me not doing my paperwork correctly. There is, again, I stress, there is no way on this planet I would ever agree to re-MOT a car after it had been out for sale for 5 months. It's just, it hasn't happened in thousands of cars. And why would it suddenly happen on this, on an old vehicle that's going to be used for towing? It just isn't logical. But like I said, because I like to think the best of people, and because I like to give customer service, and because I like to have a stress-free life, I don't need to be having disagreements with people left, right and centre. I thought somewhere along the line there's been some misunderstanding. So I honestly thought going through this process that I would come out of it looking, like a really fantastic guy for doing it. But it appears almost like all the way through someone knew they were pushing their luck and they were just seeing how far they could get with it. Yeah, and I just find that really quite disappointing. Anyway, I'll be interested in your comments down below on that one. Like I said, I haven't said what the vehicle reg is, I haven't said the name of the people, I haven't done all of that out of respect to them. And the only reason that they'd ever be able to be identified is if they come on and name themselves. But yeah, hopefully in hindsight, hopefully they're looking at it in hindsight as well and would realise that they were a bit out of order on this occasion. Anyway, as always, thanks for stopping in and listening to my stories. And hopefully the next one will be a much more positive one. See you on the next vid.